Nope. Alex? Nope.
Was that the,
That
was
was,
that was our walk?
no, it was pre-walk. It was the first time when we were talking to Steve, the engineer.
Oh, correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything wrong with that particular set. Okay, so we can, I will accept a motion to,
I'll
okay,
make a
Marie,
motion.
yeah, make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
make a motion to
second.
accept the minutes.
Yeah, okay, so we're accepting all ayes, yes. Accepted. January 11th, okay. Oh. Marina's trying to come back in and out. Apparently her sound isn't working. Okay, so I saw nothing other than your comment. I can understand why you want to reword your comment. So let's try that again, Alex.
So that
in developing the land,
so in developing the lots off of Maplewood Lane, I noticed standing water on frozen ground, and in order for a home to be built and have water kept out of the basement, unless it was a house built on a slab, you need to pitch land away from the home, and this would pitch it into the marsh. So as the recommendation, as we have to say, is that the land or the yard be developed or contoured so that it could capture as much rainwater as possible without affecting the foundation of the home.
Okay, we'll slope away from house. Yes. Directing into, boy, I hope I'm going to be able to read this later. Wetlands. And can the parcels be landscaped to avoid that? Okay, so we're proposing to change. I know exactly which line it is.
Okay.
So if you'd like to make a motion to replace this language, replace that language with this language, I will accept it. Or we are, and so accepted. Do you want me to read it again?
Sure. I guess read what you.
Okay. It'll be something along the lines of Secretary Cushions pointed out that in developing the lots off Maplewood Avenue and the others, the properties, the land will be sloped away from the house, thus directing stormwater runoff into the wetlands. Can the parcels be landscaped to avoid this?
Perfect.
Okay. So you've made the motion to change that wording.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay. And then Christina's seconding. And other than that, so we can then accept the minutes as amended. Okay. Move second. We're going to, okay, so let's see. Christine, Alex, Christine. It's going to be an exciting meeting thing. Okay, so yay. Additional agenda items. Okay. Marina's trying to come in on her phone, I think. Awesome.
I allowed her to speak, so she just has to unmute and she should be able to talk.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yay!
Hi, sorry.
That's okay. You believe me, you're not the first Zoom meeting where this has been happening to me. So it's a good thing that we all have multiple technologies to try and make contact on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will now call for additional agenda items. Does anybody have anything? As I said earlier, I'm going to, I think as part of our discussion of number 5 here, sustainable CT and Madison efforts, I'm going to bring up the fact that I have a meeting with Peggy Lyons tomorrow. I'm assuming it's a Zoom meeting. So, but I want to make sure that we cover any points that anybody wants to bring up about from the Conservation Commission that we want to bring up directly to her, that I have them. So hearing no other additional agenda items, we'll move on to number 4, which is discuss upcoming environmental legislative issues. And Christine and I had another lovely discussion with John Michael Parker, who is, it's always good to have a mole in the legislature, because we now know that there are, he's been able to find out that a lot of stuff has been going on a couple of our issues of concern. So Christine, can I get you to summarize? I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so
I talk all the time.
He had initially planned on proposing legislation to basically either create guidelines for septic in terms of nitrogen, like nutrient emissions, and somehow try to find a way to connect it to the Department of Health's guidelines, you know, for pathogens, so that the two groups could actually start, you know, working together to create these guidelines. But what he found was that there already is a study about septic tanks going on, and in our part of the state, and their impact on nutrient loads in the Sound. So since that study is already being enacted, he thought that he should wait to propose any legislation until there was some sort of, you know, data that they could analyze to support specific standards for that. So that was his thing. That's about it, right?
Yes, I think that was pretty much it. He did forward me, I did get a copy of the report, or at least the executive summary today. And given how long the executive summary is, I'm not sure I want to see the actual.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was going to ask him, like, can I have my AP environmental students read this and summarize it for me?
It's too long. It's got lots of things.
Yeah.
So, so we talked about that, and he's basically eager to hear any other ideas that we might have. So, but he says he's learning an awful lot about how legislation gets passed. So
I thought it was interesting. Didn't he say something where they have these aides that, like,
yes,
look up
the
history?
Office of Legislative Research.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool, because they look up, like, previous proposals and legislation that's been proposed for these ideas, and it helps them to guide their work and design their proposals in, you know, to model appropriate terminology and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and also make sure they're not reinventing the wheels.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was good. And he said he was going to be talking to Peggy Lyons, and I'm going to be talking to Peggy Lyons. So, so Sustainable Connecticut. I did end up on a Zoom call, as Dave had asked when he talked about it a couple of, you know, at the last meeting, about whether we might consider coordinating the energy and efficiency and the Conservation Commission to help work on the sustainability thing. So we had a Zoom call with myself and Dave and Woody Weiss and Peggy Lyons. And let's just say, I don't think it went in the direction that Dave expected it to. Really? I was like, well, I think it makes a lot of sense. And Woody came out, and I have to say he's had a lot more experience with this. My experience at this point is that unless you can get the town staff to sign on, you can have all the volunteers you want, but the work doesn't get done because it has to be done by the actual town staff. So that was with very long discussion about how things were or were not getting done in Madison. And a lot of, okay, may I say, kvetching on Woody's part. But it boiled down to it's not something that we're jumping headfirst into right now, and sort of agreed with, as you may have seen on the head of the front page of the newspaper last week, there's some changes coming in the structure in Madison. And so I got a little preliminary view of that, and also heard some about what some of the other changes, that they have other changes planned. So they sort of think that the sustainable CT certification may be allowed to lapse this year, and then we'll just work on it a year from now when we're when everything has been reorganized and certain people have retired or changed positions. So that's what it boiled down to.
Wow.
So,
well, I just remember when Fran was trying to do this with that subcommittee for sustainable CT, it was very difficult, and it was basically him and one other person doing most of the work, it seemed.
He and Woody and Dave did all the work, and they said, basically all looked at each other and said never again. So I could see even if you add another dozen volunteers on. So there was some discussion about whether or not we do some advertising, try and pull together a sustainable working group for the community, because we have a lot of people in town that work on that. I actually found out that somebody that lives up the street from me runs the Office of Sustainability for the University of New Haven, or Southern. So that would be a really good resource. If I could suck her onto the commission, I think I will. But basically, it looks like our sustainable medicine certification from the state is probably going to, unless a miracle occurs in the next couple of weeks, is going to be dropped, because we would have to have some sort of draft of what direction we're going in by April. And there was no way that any of us were going to commit to rewriting all of that stuff before that.
That's something that should take like all year to do. It's something that should be planned in the summertime, that the plan should be made then, and so you start implementing.
Right, because they're always due in August, so they would, if we started planning it in August and worked on it for the whole rest of the year, I think we'd be a lot more likely to do it and maybe be able to get some higher standards. There was a lot of discussion about how Guilford managed to jump to silver right at the top and everything, and it boiled down to a discussion of money and staffing, both of which Guilford has more of for some reason. But the good news was that I heard that it looks like Dave's the budget's going to be put together to allow Dave to hire an environmental planner.
Well, that would be nice.
Yes, so hopefully that would allow him to or somebody to concentrate more on the environment side and not just the economic development side. And I guess there's some other land use office changes moving forward that are still in discussion. So that'll be part of my discussion with Peggy tomorrow. And since I am going to be talking to Peggy tomorrow, does anybody have anything that they really want me to push and bring up with her, other than the way things have gone?
I think the funding for the WPCA thing is very important.
Okay.
I think if we're going to advocate for anything, it would be funding for that, because it's, I mean, it's way past due. Having that study done.
Yep.
And they need, they need that support.
Okay. And anything with everything that's gone on with the storms and the tree damage and the development downtown, is there anything else that we should? I mean, I'm not sure who we've got a temporary tree warden. We've got I don't know that we have a wetlands enforcement officer. There's a couple things I need to
Well,
look
that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice to have permanent people in those positions.
Anything anybody else can think of? Student liaisons, if there's anything that you think we should be discussing, I could bring up with the first select person about like what's going on at hand from a conservation point of view. Other than I'm going to tell her that you guys are awesome and you've been working with us. No? No? Elizabeth, no. Marina, no. Okay. Okay, these are going to be very terse notes. Okay, I'm going projects and issues, which I'll also be discussing with Peggy and see where I can get some potential buy-in from the town. Dark skies. We do have banner space. We got it for the last week of March and then the actual week of Dark Skies Week is starting April 11th, I think. Some other organization had gotten scooped in and gotten the week before that, so I wasn't able to get a nice 3-week block. But so we can put up either the same banner twice or potentially work with Santa and some other dark sky advocates about designing a second one that would be bring up a different look at it. I was actually looking, so the advantage of being sort of on a low motion for the last couple of weeks is I've been cruising some websites and I actually found the British they one, and they have theirs is their dark sky one, and it was something along the lines of fight night flight. And they
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
so they had, so I'm like, oh, we could do a capital B and a capital L and then put it in parentheses so it would be light and blight.
Mhm.
But so that was that, and I was and I found a very cool new, let's see if I can bring it up and wave it in front of the camera. The latest of the
Wow.
night sky pollution things. And I was like, wait a minute, are there no lights in Canada? My God, there are no lights in Canada. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
even more brightly lit up than Canada is.
They don't really live in the tundra part, so I mean, there's
Yeah, and without
have a
the
significantly
national
lower
border in
population.
there, it was actually hard to tell where the edge was. But it's like, boy, they are really all down against the southern edge.
They are. Yeah.
So I'm looking into some more information on that. And I also, moving on to B, the anti-idling campaign, I decided I'd just start typing in anti-idling education. And our own Connecticut DEEP has a very cute series of mini videos where they've gone with the Mythbuster thing. And
yeah.
yeah, they did them a couple of years ago, and the two I watched, one was on idling and the other was on, using green cleaners in schools and stuff. But I thought it was really well done. And I'm going to check and see if I can get Abby White to start running them on the community access, if at least there's something to start with. And then there's some other educational materials. I still haven't heard back about getting permission to post signs in our parking areas, but I live in hope. Invasive species, nothing new and different other than we did talk briefly with John Michael Parker about that. He was asking me why Phragmites didn't meet invasive standards, and it's because it can't spread by it. The only reason is because it can't spread by itself remotely.
Yeah, I have to wonder if we shouldn't try to find a way to get the DEEP to change some of those, just like the requirement to be classified, Because between the bamboo and the Phragmites, I mean,
Yeah,
clearly invasive.
yeah. Although they make the I have heard the argument made that yes, but the Phragmites, because it grows on the edges, has been shown to move by the rhizomes being washed downstream, but nobody's proved that with the bamboo yet.
Hmm.
So, community outreach. I had some great ideas the last time about writing letters to the editor. I did none of them. My mother's back out of the hospital.
That's great.
That's really good.
She was out, she was in, she was out.
Mm.
I still think since I've gotten a couple of people contact me about what the heck happened to this tree. I do think and it had gotten viciously attacked by a pileated woodpecker, and I'm sure it was an ash tree, and it had just gotten stripped, and so they're like, "What?" And I'm like, you could see it a lot more this time of year, so more people are out hiking, so I still think I want to put a letter to the editor and see if I can turn that into a brief article.
Oh, the blonding, you mean, when they rip the
Blonding
bark?
and
Yeah.
then the general increase in woodpeckers and everything. Actually, there's a real benefit to this. I've actually got bluebirds nesting in some of the dead tree. I've documented they're living in. I'm assuming they nested there, but they're living in a couple of the dead snags around the beaver pond across the street. So when you see 12 bluebirds bouncing around on this one tree in January, it's really cool.
That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah. So, not the same. Going to say it's balancing out the, for the benefit of the woodlands, that the ash trees are all dying, but some species are appreciating it.
Heather, speaking of letter to the editor or whatever, you had a nice letter to the editor about the Dark Skies banner.
Yes.
Do you think that if you sent that same letter, they would publish it?
I could try it. And the other thing that I could do is that last year, 2 months after the fact, I got contacted by the reporter about, wanting to help us with it. So I should contact him and say, okay, we're coming back for 2021. So can we actually get an article together this year? Okay, so yeah, I would like to do that. Any other ideas for community outreach? Banners, we've got banners.
I guess Earth Day is not going to be very.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably, although I wouldn't hurt, especially with some people retiring, and it wouldn't hurt to say, you know what, I'm going to put that on the list with Peggy, because last year that even we got sort of knocked out of doing it anyway, but whoever the coordination of it's going to be even less likely to happen this year. And we could still have people doing the green up cleanup.
That's true.
Okay. Okay. Anything else we're working on? The NRI is sitting there quietly. I'm gonna talk to Peggy about that. Unfortunately, Dave couldn't be with us. He's at the Board of Selectmen's meeting tonight. So I can't find, the minutes have not yet been posted for the planning and zoning meeting last Thursday. So I don't know exactly what went on, but I did write a letter. I managed to get one out Wednesday afternoon.
I forgot to text you.
Are we allowed to get into the town hall, do you know?
No, only with an appointment. But if you make an appointment, you can get in, depending on who you want to see.
No, it was the tax records for the NRI for farming.
I
I think that's
still
a lot of
yeah.
hours. I don't know if it's on what, microfiche or actual blueprints or what, but I think it sounds like a lot of hours in that vault.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think you're right. And I don't think they're going to let us do that right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, commission membership. That was also supposed to be a letter. So I will try and get pull together something that says, you know, there's a screaming need, particularly for people that can represent the downtown area, where most of our most critical conservation issues are. And we're looking for at least 2 more members, and maybe this anybody that wants to work on us on projects, with us on projects. This is going to be, hi. This may be a record. Okay, student representatives, anything going on?
Well, we've only had 1 meeting since our last meeting, so not
Right.
much has happened. But in terms of, I think we were working on composting food and then metal utensils. There's not much we can do with that just because the school's losing so much money this year.
Yeah.
That there's not much change we can make, or not that they can afford it.
Right. Although, have you considered, because you have to pick up the stuff, have you considered starting a campaign for bring your own utensils?
We are, they said we're allowed to do that. We might, like, put up posters. Like, there isn't anything else we can do.
Yeah.
There's some. I have a set of utensils that are bamboo that I've had for years, and I put them in my lunch bag. And I just keep it in my lunch bag, and I bring them every day with me. And it's got its little tiny pouch, so you can actually get those. And one of my students saw me with it a few years ago, and she got her own too. So I don't think they're that expensive. So that might be something to, like, if you're looking for suggestions for students, you know, for your classmates on what they can do, like, they can do that. And mine actually comes with like a little carabiner that I can attach to stuff so that I don't lose it. And it's bamboo, so it tends not to spoil, you know, and get gross. So.
Right. Yeah. So, and you were going to do a survey. So about the water bottles. Is that you're still thinking about that?
We're still working on
Yeah,
those 2 projects.
that survey's finished. I think it just needs to get approved by Mr. Salutary.
Okay. Cool. Anything else? Okay, it's not going to be quite a record, but that's all I have on my agenda. I'm sorry, on the one hand, to sort of have had to haul you all into this tonight, but I think that this is particularly for my meeting with Peggy tomorrow. I really appreciate having that list put together, and I'm going to use the next half hour that I had planned for this meeting to actually type up the minutes, so efficiency will be had. Okay, I would take our favorite motion.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay.